Hello and welcome back to another episode of 3rd and 23. Your host Alex, here to talk college football. Following along, every Friday I like to make my picks and predictions for the weekend. Right, get money day, get money weekend. So here specifically, we're gonna talk about week 9 of the college football season. First time on the channel, if you want to take a look at the top right, that's my overall record. So basically, if you want to think of it just straight up picks, money line picks, however you want to take it. But that's my overall record. Not too bad. One win away from 50th for the season. And of course, against the spread, it's pretty self-explanatory. We had a hot start to the year. Had it kind of cooled off for a couple weeks in a row where I didn't do too well. And then I've gone 7-3 the past 2 weeks ATS, so not bad at all. So let's see if we can kind of keep that streak going. So let's get into it. First, starting off with Oklahoma at Texas. Also, if you notice the spreads that are listed on the screen, these are what your spreads are from the beginning of the week. Then I like to edit it real time on Fridays, kind of give you guys an idea of which way the money was going. You know, you make your own decisions there on how you want to take that. But starting off, Oklahoma early in the week opened at 9-point favorite. This has since gone, or sorry, it's 10-point favorite. This since moved to 9, so money going in on Kansas. And at first glance, I kind of understood why. Right, so you look at Oklahoma, and you know Oklahoma is undefeated, right? So if you follow college football, you know what's a legit undefeated 12-0 team, and you would be able to tell what's kind of a farce undefeated team, right? So I'm not trying to take anything away from Oklahoma. You know, they've had a great year. They are a good team. This isn't a team that's good enough to go 12-0, right? This is a team with a defense that hasn't played very well this year. They've played better than they played last year in Brent Venables' first season, but they still don't play very well. You look at the Texas game, they won 34-30, and you'll say, man, you made some stops in that game, blah, blah, blah. Oklahoma made the defensive stops they needed to make to win the game. But man, they gave up like 500 something yards in that game. You know, they gave up over 500 in that game, right? So not exactly lights out defense. Against UCF, I mean, they gave up almost 400, basically 400 yards in that game. Hasn't been a good defensive performance. They beat Texas on a game-winning touchdown in the final seconds, right? They beat UCF on a failed 2-point conversion at the end of the game. They won that game 31-29. That was at home. The point I'm making is bad defense, a team without a running game, isn't the kind of team you typically see go 12-0, right? That's all I'm saying. I don't see the Sooners going 12-0, so somebody's got to beat them, right? So who's going to beat the Sooners becomes the question. And you look at their schedule, and you say, well, it's not going to be any of these teams at the end of the year. They ended the season against TCU. TCU stinks, man. That's a bad football team. They're not losing that game, right? I'm going to go off of the end of the year. They play BYU, second to last game. I mean, it's in Provo, maybe. I don't know, right? Host West Virginia. They're not going to lose at home to West Virginia, a team with Garrett Green who can't really pass the ball. They're not going to lose that game. So it comes down to the next 2 weeks. At Kansas this week, at Kansas, and then the following week at Oklahoma State. Can they go 2-0 in these 2 weekends? That I'm not sure about, right? So you look at Kansas. Kansas is a terrible defense. Kansas is a terrible defense, man. You can run all over these guys. Ollie Gordon led rushing attack with Oklahoma State, over 200. R.J. Harvey led rushing attack with UCF, underrated running back, by the way, over 200. Week before that, Texas. I've already, I should talk about Jonathan Brooks all the time. I mean, I think he's that dude. I think he's a really, really good running back that doesn't really get talked about. Over 200. If you got a running game, you're going over 200 against Kansas. Now, Oklahoma does not have a running game. Marcus Major, now, not really. Sorry, I'm not buying. Dylan Gabriel will make some plays with his legs, though. But when you look at the Kansas pass defense, man, you could throw it on these guys too. And this OU passing attack, yeah, I know Jarrell Anthony is he's out for the year, big loss. But man, Nick Anderson's looking for real. Nick Anderson looks for real to me. This looks like a legit stud at wide receiver. Drake Stoops, you know this guy gets open, man. All this guy does is get open plays. Jaleel Farouk, of course, that's the number one. Jaleel Farouk makes plays, big time playmaker. Farouk, Anderson, Stoops, with Dylan Gabriel still on like a Heisman kind of grind. These guys are going to put up a lot of points in this. Kansas on the other side, going against the OU defense, it's not very good. Again, Jason Bean is more than likely going to be the starting quarterback. Jason Bean is an electric quarterback. He's a big play-making quarterback. He makes plays with his legs. He makes plays with his arm. Where he's different from Jalen Daniels is, you know what? Let me take that back. He's different than Jalen Daniels in that regard, and that Jalen Daniels is more of a game-managing quarterback. He doesn't take chances like that. He doesn't make the plays with his legs that Jason Bean does. He doesn't make the plays down the field with his arm that Jason Bean does. But what he does do better than Jason Bean is he protects the ball. Because he doesn't take chances, he protects the ball. Jason Bean is a guy who can have turnovers. He'll probably have some turnovers in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw 2 picks. I wouldn't be surprised if he threw 4 touchdowns with those 2 picks. OU can give it up on the ground. Devin Neal, Daniel Henshaw. Kansas got running backs. So this is going to be a balanced running attack with KU. The thing is, because Jason Bean is the kind of quarterback that can turn the ball over and will turn the ball over, and Dylan Gabriel isn't really that guy. I'm taking OU, by the way, straight to win this game, but I don't feel comfortable saying that OU will or won't cover the 9, right? I could see this is going to be a high scoring game. I could see 42-31 OU, and I could see 42-35 OU, right? So this is a tough game for me to call. I'll say this, by the way, I know I don't really talk over-unders on here, but sometimes I've hit on these. This is one you might want to think about. The over-under in this game is 65.5. Now, that's a little high. It's a little high. It's something to think about, though. It's something to think about. I would consider that. But obviously that has nothing to do with wins or losses here. So that's all I'm going to really say about that. I'm going to take OU in this game straight up to win this game because I feel more comfortable saying OU loses the following week in Bedlam to Oklahoma State. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But in Kansas, we haven't seen Kansas under Lance Leopold win a big game yet. And this is a big game, and I'm not going to make the assumption that this is the one they win. I'm going Boomer Sooner. Win this game straight up, but not against the spread. Moving on, let's talk Clemson and NC State. Clemson, man, this is a team that, man, they kind of circling the drain a little bit, right? Well, I mean, they're 2-2 in their last 4, right? Lost to Florida State, OT. Lost to Miami, OT. Beat a trash Syracuse team. Beat a stank Wake Forest team, but kind of struggled in that 17-12, right? They're getting 10 on the road. And by the way, or they're laying 10 on the road. This is still 10. Now, you look at NC State. NC State is a real enigma kind of team, right? You kind of don't know what you get with NC State. They lose by 3 touchdowns to Henry Beelan in 24-3. when Duke only had 3 plays in that game. The NC State defense really shut Duke down, by the way, game outside of 2 plays. Then they put 48 on Marshall, who's one of the better mid-majors out there. They gave up 41 in that game. They went against a Louisville team that was undefeated at that time and pretty explosive. They lost that game only 13-10, right? But then they beat a bad UVA team 24-21. Like, you don't know what you're going to get with this NC State team sometimes. One thing that I will say that I think is pretty consistent with NC State has been their defense. Their defense has been really good this year. I think their defense can stop the run well, play the pass well. I think against a Clemson offense that hasn't a Clemson offense that hasn't played that well this season, even though I do like Cade Klubnik. I thought Cade Klubnik was playing well. I thought he regressed against Miami. I think they're not an explosive offense, and without that explosive offense going into Raleigh against a really good defense, I think you're going to see Clemson have some issues offensively in this game. By the way, Antonio Williams, I believe, is out in this game. So keep that in mind. No Antonio Williams in this game. Let me just go ahead and confirm that real quick. Yeah, Antonio Williams is out in this game. So bringing Sewell at tight end, Tyler Brown, electric receiver. That's what they're going to be. Bo Collins is going to probably go 3 for 40. That's pretty much what he does. He's that kind of guy. So they're not going to be an explosive offense in this game. And the last time Clemson went to Raleigh, they lost this game in overtime. You guys remember that. On the other side, NC State, you got MJ Morris, erratic with the football. He's going to hit some plays in this game down the field. Probably also turn the rock over in this game. But with this defense, I think you're looking at a 4-quarter football game. I think this defense match is not a good matchup for a Clemson offense that's kind of sputtering, dying to get home. I don't think this is a good matchup for the Clemson offense. I'm not going to take the Tigers straight up. Sorry, real 1 second. I just realized that my headset started to beep. So sorry about that. But anyways, I don't think this is a good matchup for Clemson's offense. So I'm going to take the Wolfpack in this game with the 10. I'm going to take Clemson with Cade Klubnik to make enough plays late in this game. This might be on some walk-off field goal. This might go to OT. But I'm going to take Clemson to win straight up. But I am taking the Wolfpack with the +10. So this is our first ATS game. Moving on. And before I move on, I wanted to tell you guys at the top, I forgot to say it. This is an interesting week. This is a tricky week. Because if you're looking at this screen, look at all of the road favorites. Man, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. If you bet on games, that's dangerous. Look at all these road favorites. OU -9. Clemson -10. The Georgia game is a neutral site, but Oregon -6. Tennessee 3.5. Ohio State 14.5. Oregon State 3.5. This is the dangerous games for the favorite, man. If you do this, all these road teams aren't about to cover. Probably all of them aren't about to win either. So anyway, let's move on. First ATS game, we're going to take the Wolfpack with the 10 at home. Next game is going to be Georgia-Florida. Georgia's a team that if you've been following this channel, if you've been following Georgia, pretty much you got Georgia down pat. If Georgia doesn't care about the game, if they don't care about the team, they sleepwalk through it. They might not cover. They'll win. They might not cover because they don't care. Appreciate the follow, Coronas. They might not care. But when they do care, for example, Kentucky, ranked, coming into Athens, they show up from the word go, and they slap the taste out of Kentucky's mouth, 51-13. So there you go. The next week they played Vanderbilt. They win 37-20, but they didn't care. I don't think they covered in that game. They didn't care. You know, Georgia, Florida, cocktail party in Jacksonville. You know they're going to show up in this game. You know Georgia's showing up in this game. This game, for me, is a bad matchup for Florida. You look at Florida's defense, they've been really struggling lately. They're not very good against the run. They let a South Carolina team that's really bad, a bad South Carolina team, drop 39, well, 37. They gave up a safety, then, but drop a bunch of points on them. I mean, I know Spencer Rattler's playing better this season, and Leggett is really good at receiver. But man, South Carolina can't run the ball, and they ran it up and down on Florida. So, you know, take Vanderbilt out of there because Vanderbilt stinks. Kentucky ran all over these guys. The Florida defense is a really young defense. There's a lot of young players on it, and it's starting to really show. They're not very good stopping the run. I don't think they're very good stopping the pass. If you are a good offense, you're going to have a really good day. Georgia is a good offense. Dejon Edwards is a really good running back. He's going to have a good game. But I think this is going to be a Carson Beck game. I think Carson Beck, you know, Georgia doesn't give up sacks and Florida doesn't get sacks. So Carson Beck isn't going to be under a lot of pressure in this game. I think this is a game that, despite no Brock Bowers, his replacement, Oscar Delp at tight end, he's not Brock Bowers. I'm not going to say he's as good as Brock Bowers or anything like that. He's really good. He's shown it this year. I mean, he's ready. So, you know, Oscar Delp is going to make plays. Ra Thomas, Dominic Lovett. These guys are going to make plays in this game. Rosemy, I always say his name incorrectly. Marcus Rosemy, Saint. These guys are going to make plays. I think the key in this game you're going to see the Georgia passing attack really have success in this game. I think they're going to make a lot of plays in this game, and it's going to be balanced because Dejon Edwards is going to be able to get. Dejon's probably going, if you give him the ball enough, he's probably going over 100 in this game. He's going to have a good game. This is a game where, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Georgia roll up 40 burger. You know, I wouldn't be shocked to see Georgia roll up 40 burger. And then on the opposite side, Florida, historically under Billy Napier, conservative offense, they finally opened it up against South Carolina, put 41 on the board. Remember, they were trailing in that game 37-27 late. They had to open it up. They had opened it up early in the game, but they had to open it up to come back and win. Are they going to revert back to being a conservative? I think they are. I think that they're not really going to have, Graham Mertz isn't really going to have the time to open it up, even if they wanted to. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. I think they're going to be conservative in this game. I don't think they're going to open up this offense until they're already down several scores, because I think Georgia's going to jump on Florida early. I think they're going to be up early in this game. And I don't think Florida's going to have even near the horses to kind of come back in this game. I mean, Khalil Jackson, Trey Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, these are good receivers. I mean, Trey's going to be a great player, but he's a true freshman. Ricky is having a hell of a year. But against these Georgia DBs with Lassiter and Malachi Starr, the guys that Georgia has on the back end, man, this is not a good matchup for Florida. Tyke Smith having a hell of a year. Probably going to catch one on Mertz in this game. So I don't think that this is a great matchup for Florida. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball successfully. I don't think they're going to be able to pass the ball successfully. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw like a 38-14, 42-10 kind of win for Georgia. I think they're going to jump on Florida early, often, and for 4 quarters. This ain't a great. Oh, by the way, this was 14.5. This has stayed at 14.5. I was surprised by the spread. I thought this spread would have been around 21. At 14.5, man, I'm taking Georgia, and I'm laying that 14.5. So this is our second ATS game. So remember, we got NC State +10. Georgia laying 14.5. Moving on, Oregon, Utah. One of the top games in the Pac-12 this season. But for me, if you're looking at record-wise, you'll say that, right? But for me, it's lost a little luster because of all of the losses that Utah has sustained this year. I don't they give it to them. Utah pulled it out against USC. Some huge mistakes by USC in that game to really give that game. Oh, I talked about a big sequence where it was 14-14. Utah got stopped at the goal line, personal foul, lets them get a fresh set of downs. They score 21-14. Ensuing drive, USC fumbles the ball around midfield, giving Utah a short field. They go down, boom, just like that, 28-14. USC battled back and all that, and then made more mistakes, set up. They actually took the lead, made more mistakes to set up a game-winning field goal for Utah to lose that game. I don't like the Utah quarterback situation with Bryson Barnes. He's not a Power 5 starter, neither is Nate Johnson. With no Cam Rising, they've just been limited offensively this season. Defense has been lights out. Got to give it to them. That Utah defense has been lights out this year. That said, Utah's gone to get some explosive plays. They've gone to the new the Bobby Miles, Sione Vaki, who's been crazy this season, right? Let me see where he came in at. Yeah. So Utah, Sione Vaki, he's a starting safety. They put him in at running back, but basically they're just like they run it to him, they throw it to him, see what he can do. Against Cal, Sione Vaki ran for 158 and 2 touchdowns to pretty much lead that W, right? Hit a home run late to put the fork in like a 70-yard touchdown run. Against USC, Sione Vaki, a.k.a. Booby Miles, ran for 68-yard play. Also had 5 catches for 149 and 2 touchdowns in this game. Playmaker. They also got Jaquindon Jackson back, so they got kind of a 1-2 punch there. Jaquindon Jackson and Sione Vaki. So these guys got guys who can make plays and move the ball in this game. Where Oregon, you can't move the ball on the ground in them in this game. Bryson Barnes is not going to do a lot passing the ball against Oregon. Just not. Receivers don't really match up that well with the Oregon DBs. And then you got Bryson Barnes like quarterback. He's not going to do anything, right? They will be able to move the ball on the ground. The thing with Utah is, this is something that maybe you guys don't know. Utah's won 14 games in a row at home. So they're not often a home dog. They won 14 in a row at home. So to be able to win this game, how many points is Utah's going to have to score? How many points are they going to be able to score with just that running game, with being one-dimensional? I want to go over something with you guys right now. This is just at home. Against Florida, Utah scored 24 points, but in my opinion, they only scored a true 10. This is just me talking, right? First play of the game, they hit an 80-yard touchdown. How often are you going to hit a first play of the game 80-yard touchdown? It's not often, right? So it's not a true offensive score to me because they didn't truly move the ball at all to score that. Florida had a turnover to set them up like inside the 10-yard line for another easy touchdown. So Utah truly only scored 10 points in that game. And it's shown by their yardage. They only had like 250 yards in that game, right? They could not move the ball in that game. 10 points. I'm taking out Weber State, but by the way, they only scored 31 against Weber State. Just by the way. UCLA, they won that game 14-7. Only scored 7 true points because there was a pick 6 on the first play of the game. Cal, they won 34-14 against a bad Cal team. That game was 24-14, late fourth, before Sione hits a 70-yard touchdown run to put the fork in Cal. They also had, in that game, they had a short field because Cal went for it on 4th down, didn't get it, led to a field goal. That was at the end of the game. They didn't even move the ball really. With the short field, gave him 3. And Cal fumbled the ball, put it at like the 12-yard line earlier in the game to set up a touchdown. So reality is Utah only scored, in my opinion, 17 true points in that game. So we're at Florida 10, UCLA 7, Cal 17. So they have not been scoring at home a lot of points in this game. So how many points are they going to score against an Oregon team, which is an explosive team, which has a chance at the college football playoff? How many points you guys think they're going to score? Oregon doesn't make mistakes. Bo Nix doesn't make mistakes. You're not going to get short fields all game long and putting up points. That's not going to happen in this game. I think Utah, even with Sione balling, with Jaquindon Jackson balling, Utah's looking at 14, 17 points in this game. So the reality is, can Oregon score 21-24? Can they win this game? First off, absolutely. There's no way Bryson Barnes is beating Caleb Williams and Bo Nix in back-to-back weeks. So that's out. You can forget that. Oregon's going to win this game. So on that home winning streak coming to it. Oregon can run the ball with Bucky, Jordan James. And by the way, Utah lost their inside linebacker, Lander Barton, good player. Another injury that Utah sustains. Big loss. It's going to make it easier for Oregon to run the ball in this game. Bo Nix is going to be under some pressure in this game because Utah's pass rush and their defense is ferocious. But they're going to have balance because they're going to be able to run the ball. Troy Franklin, these guys aren't going to get shut down all game. It's not like Bo Nix isn't going to hit over 100 yards passing or something. They're going to move the ball. So my thing is, I don't think, unless Oregon makes mistakes, I don't think Utah's going to score enough points in this game to win. Dan Lanning is not about to let Sione Vaki, a.k.a. Boobie Miles, go for 300, something like that in this game. So I think that Oregon, oh man, I forgot to check. This was 6 points. I think that it's up to 6.5. Oof. So this is up to 6.5. I was going to say I think Oregon can win this game by 7 on the road. So even though this has gone up to 6.5, I still like I still like Oregon to win this game. 21-14, 24-17, something like that. If that's a little too dicey for you, I understand. Me personally, I'm going to still do this ATS because I feel confident enough that they can win this game on the road because I don't think Utah is going to be able to score enough. So this is another ATS game. And we're taking Oregon. Next up, Duke at Louisville. So Duke coming off a game where they had the lead against Florida State. Riley Leonard goes down because Riley Leonard's not healthy. Re-aggravates the injury. And Henry Beelan comes in, and then that was all she wrote. They were supposed to be going up 27-17. They ended up losing 38-20 because that's how much of a swing it is from going from Riley Leonard to Henry Beelan. And I'm not trying to dog this guy, Henry Beelan. I talked about it on my recap video. I don't think he's made for this level. That's just me. Right now they're saying Riley Leonard is day-to-day, but man, come on, man. I'm not even hearing that. Let's all be honest. We know Riley Leonard is. I mean, I'm not, the coach. Let's be real. You don't think Riley Leonard is playing tomorrow? I damn sure don't think it. So it's gonna be Henry Beelan, in my opinion, going on the road against a Louisville team that is coming off a really weird loss to Pitt. Like a really weird loss to Pitt. A game that you didn't think they should lose. They had a lot of mistakes. Yeah, that's right. Jack Plummer had a sack fumble in the red zone when he could have got rid of the ball. He doesn't, so that ended a scoring possession. They hit Jamari. That's right. They hit Jamari Thrash with a big play down the middle by himself. Jamari Thrash goes down to make the catch, which you see a lot of kids in college do that when you don't got to do that. Stay on your feet. He would have scored. He goes down. He doesn't score, right? A few plays later, Plummer throws a pick six. So, huge swing in the game. They missed the field goal in the fourth quarter in this game. They just had a ton of mistakes. I mean, it was just a game on the road, ugly game. You could call it a letdown from the Notre Dame game. A really ugly game. Not really sure how Louisville really lost that game. Well, I just kind of illustrated how they lost the game, but they just didn't show up. They got to the bye week. I think they had the letdown game. They recalibrate after that L. Now they're going to be at home hosting a Duke team with Henry Beeland. I'm telling you right now, I think this Louisville defense is going to be all over this kid. All over him. By the way, this was a 4 points, right? It is, what is it, 4? It is now, if I can find this game. Wow, man. So they already know what I'm talking about, man. This is going up to 6.5. You know, I thought the 4 was ridiculous to me personally. I would have absolutely laid that, and I got no issue laying the 6.5 because really what you're saying is, can they win by a touchdown against Henry B? These guys with Henry Beeland beat NC State by 21. That is an embarrassment by NC State. Duke went like 1 for 11 on third down in that game. They are not going to beat a better defense in Louisville by 21. They're not going to win the game. Okay? I'll be honest with you. I would not be shocked. If Louisville shut these guys out. I'm just going to be honest. It wouldn't shock me if they shut these guys out because Louisville has a really good defense. Now, keep in mind, Jawar Jordan, man, they're saying he might not play in this game. Louisville's got some injury issues. Jawar Jordan, maybe doesn't play. I think they need him. Jarvis Brownlee might not play. I don't think they need him that much. I never really thought he was that good. But Louisville's defense, man, might be better than Duke's. And they might shut these guys out. So for me, let's say they don't shut them out. How many points do you really think Duke is going to score? What, 10? Telling me Louisville can't get 17? Shot, man. So this is another ATS game that we're doing. We're taking Louisville. We're going to lay the 6.5. I really liked it at 4. I would have preferred to do it at 4, but all the money, I guess, pouring into Louisville, which makes a lot of sense because this should be an easy victory for the Ville. Moving on, Tennessee at Kentucky. It's a game that I'm not going to do against the spread, man. I lean towards Tennessee. By the way, let's take a look real quick. Tennessee opened at a 3.5. This has now gone. I thought it went to 4. Yeah, it did. It went to 4. I lean towards Tennessee being able to cover this game on the road. The road night game, Kentucky doesn't have a history of performing well out of byes, by the way. They're coming out of a bye. They already lost a road night or a home night game to Missouri, and they lost by 17. Now, Tennessee, in my opinion, they don't have as balanced an offense as Missouri to be able to do the things that Missouri did in that game. They don't have weapons at receiver, and they don't have the quarterback in Brady Cook. What they do have is a very, very good running game. I know they got shut down by Bama. Bama's shutting down everybody's running game. Kentucky's not going to shut down Tennessee. But on the other hand, I don't believe Tennessee is going to really shut down Ray Davis either. So I think both teams are going to be able to run the ball in this game. I think this is going to be a close game. The thing is, who do you trust more? Devin Leary or Joe Milton? Now, Tennessee just lost their top corner, Kamal Hayden, for the year. Let me tell you something. If he didn't get hurt, I think he'd have house won in this game. And I would have probably took Tennessee to cover. Without him in this game, I think that's a big loss. I think, again, I'm not trusting Devin Leary. I don't think Devin Leary is going to clear 200 yards passing. He might get 150, 175, where he's keeping his game competitive, right? Coming off the bye week. Again, I know they don't perform well off of bye weeks, but you got to think they at least have fixed some issues in the passing game. These receivers being able to hold on to the ball and Leary be able to get them the ball. I don't think Tennessee is going to win this game. At the end of the day, I think Joe Milton can make enough plays, make more plays passing the ball than Devin Leary can. And I think that's going to be the difference of the game. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee won on like a walk-off. You know, wouldn't shock me if Tennessee won on a walk-off or something late in the game to win this game by like 3, 24-21, 27-24, some game like that. That's why I don't feel comfortable laying the 4 because I think it's going to be really close to that score. And while I know I said the difference in the Oregon game, I just feel more comfortable with Bo Nix being able to cover that against you. But in this game, I just don't. Joe Milton on the road in a night game, I don't feel comfortable taking that. So I'm going to stay away from that game as far as ATS. Ohio State, Wisconsin, another game that I just don't feel comfortable doing. Kyle McCord. The last time Kyle McCord was in a tough road environment, Notre Dame, they won by 3. Notre Dame is better than Wisconsin. Yes, I know this. But I don't know if they're good enough to win this game by 14 and a half. Now, let's check to see. The night game in Madison, by the way, still 14 and a half. You got Kyle McCord against what is a good Badgers. They can get after. Now, they're good pass defense. They're not going to shut down Marvin at all. But they're good enough pass defense where they're going to cause Kyle McCord some issues. Ohio State is supposed to have TreVeyon Henderson back, and that is huge to me because I think he can have some success running the ball against Wisconsin. This is going to be, I believe this is a nationally televised game. This is his moment to he's finally back from injury. He's full go, they say. He should start this game. And it's on NBC against a Wisconsin defense that, while it is good defense, that you can have success running the ball on them. I think TreVeyon's going to have success in this game. But Wisconsin is going to be fired up in this game. You know, they got embarrassed last year. Now they're at night. They got the revenge factor. They're at home. They got the juice flowing. This QB, Braden Locke, man, undersized quarterback with a nice arm. That little moxie to him, he runs around. I could see him hitting a couple plays, having the crowd juiced up. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a close game at the half. Let's say 17-10 or so halftime score. I think Ohio State's going to pull away in this game. Now, I don't feel comfortable, again, laying the 14 and a half because is it 31-10 and you get a backdoor cover, 31-17 and you lose the half point? Or is it 34-17 and you cover? It's a little too close for comfort for me to comfortably say I want to lay that 14 and a half on the road. That's a lot of points to lay on the road. In Madison, which can be a tough place to play. Buckeyes are better. Buckeyes are winning straight up. As you see, I'm taking the Buckeyes, but I'm just not laying those points on the road. Moving on, trying to speed this up. Colorado, UCLA. So, UCLA people don't know this. I'm going to talk about their defense first. Their defense has been outstanding this year. They've had an outstanding defense this year. Great front seven. Secondary is not outstanding, but good enough. Certainly good enough. They played great football. UCLA's biggest issue this year was at quarterback, where Dante Moore, the freshman, who had looked good early, really hit the freshman wall, was throwing pick sixes literally in every single game, and they had to make a change. They go back to Ethan Garbers, who started the opener against Coastal Carolina, and he wasn't bad, but he threw a couple picks, and they were like, man, let's just go with the freshman. But he wasn't bad. He looked sharp against Stanford, 240 and 2 touchdowns. They got a running game led by Carson Steele. This is going to be a balanced offense with a very good defense going against a Colorado team coming off a bye, coming off the embarrassment of Stanford where they're up 29-0 and they just stopped playing. Colorado, I've said this before, man, Shedeur Sanders is for real. HBCU or not, man, Shedor's for real. He has a good arm, not great, good arm, good size, not great, good size. But he has great moxie, great intangibles, and knows how to play the position. He does a great job. With those receivers, Jimmy Horn Jr., Travis Hunter, Xavier Weaver, even throwing out the backfield to Dylan Edwards, they're going to. I talked about UCLA defense, but Colorado's going to make some plays passing the ball in this game. What's going to hurt Colorado is they're not going to run the ball at all in this game. They won't go anywhere on the ground in this game. So for that reason, I think UCLA is going to come out to a early lead, and then it's going to be where they're trading scores. I could see this game being like 42-24 UCLA. I'm expecting UCLA to hit 40. 45-24 UCLA. So, by the way, this was 17. This has since moved to 16.5. Wow. Still a little too, the 17, I thought this would be a 17-point. Could see it being a 17-point outcome. That half point isn't enough for me to take Colorado with a 16.5 or to lay to 16.5 with UCLA. I think it's going to be right around there, right? 42-24, 41-24, around there, to where, something happens late back door and you get burned on either side. So I'm not going to do that, get this game against the spread. We're just going to go ahead and leave this. We're going to say UCLA will win this game straight up, though. And now we're going to move on to Oregon State at Arizona. Arizona, you guys have talked about already. I'm a big fan of Noah Fifita. I think he's done a hell of a job. I wanted to take them straight up against Washington State, but I was like, I won't do it in Pullman. But I did take them with the points. That was an easy cover as Arizona beat the trash out of them 44-6. Both these teams, by the way, are coming off a bye. Because they're coming off a bye, they're saying Jaden DeLaura might back at quarterback. They haven't named the starter yet. So this is a game where you want to tune in tomorrow to see who is going to start. I think you start Noah Fifita, no question. He's the better quarterback. Jaden DeLaura is the kind of guy who will turn the rock over. Noah Fifita knows how to manage the game. Going against an Oregon State team that nobody's paid attention to, but UCLA and Cal both ran wild on these guys on the ground. Oregon State won the game. Both these guys ran wild on the ground against them. Arizona State with Jonah Coleman, they're getting Michael Wiley back. These guys are going to move the ball on the ground. Down in the desert at night, they're moving the ball on the ground in this game. DJU's not going to have a great game against this Arizona defense. Nobody knows this, but Arizona's defense has played well. Shut down Cam Ward. Caleb Williams? Nah, man. They should have won that game, but they shut down Caleb Williams 14 for 25, 219. Shut him down. Arizona mistakes are the reason why they didn't win that game. Penalties. Michael Penix threw for 360, but 0 touchdowns, right? This team, even way back against Mississippi State, just different kind of team now because that's early in the season. Will Rogers, who I'm not big on anyway, they shut him down. 4 turnovers by DeLaura is what cost him that game. So Arizona's defense is going to probably shut down DJU for a fair bit of this game. They're going to be relying on Martinez and Fenwick running the ball, who are good, who should have solid games. But Arizona's going to have solid games on the ground too. I think Fifita starts is going to have a solid game too. This was 3.5. This has moved down to 3. Makes sense to me. Because, to be perfectly honest, this is going to be the road team, the game where there's the road favorite, because I talked about how there's all these road favorites, where I'm actually going to take the home team to win this straight up. So, disclaimer. No Fifita starts. I'm taking Arizona straight up. ATS game, money line. Straight up, Arizona. If they start Jaden DeLaura, which is a mistake, I'm taking Oregon State. I'm not laying the 3. I'm just going to take Oregon State straight up because I think this is going to come down. I think this is going to come down to a 3-point game on either side. And DeLaura is the kind of quarterback who will throw a pick late. And Noah Fifita is the kind of quarterback who will lead for the 3-point victory. So I'm going Arizona money line as long as Fifita starts. So you guys remember that. So Just a quick recap as this video's gone long. We're going NC State plus 10, Georgia laying 14.5, Oregon laying 6.5, Louisville laying 6.5. So 4 games ATS, and then a 5th potential Arizona money line taking them straight up. So if you like the content, please like, follow, subscribe, as you will see my YouTube handle here in a few seconds. Sorry for the long video, but I'll try to give you guys as much information as I can. That's it. Take care.